You know, when I tell people my favorite genres of video games are sports and RPGs, I always get a little bit of a funny look from folks because they don't really expect those two to go together, but they are. They've been my constants ever since I was a kid, the ones that I play the most often. What's going on, everybody? I'm Jay. Welcome to Square Pegs, and today we're talking about RPGs. Talked about sports games in the past, but today it's RPGs, and we're looking at 10 fantastic RPGs that I think you may have overlooked throughout the years. We're going to go newest to oldest, but I want to start with an honorable mention that just didn't quite make the cut, and it's one I've talked about pretty frequently on the channel before, and it is Alpha Protocol. If you haven't played Alpha Protocol is a game where you step into the role of a spy, and it's great. It's buggy as hell, and that's kind of why it's not making the list, because there are some deep, deep flaws to the title, but the concept is strong. And as someone who likes espionage stuff and likes spy stories, it's a really, really fun game, and it's kind of cool to be able to play James Bond for a little while, and make decisions for James Bond as opposed to just kind of going through the motions in a shooter like GoldenEye or, well, GoldenEye. That's my honorable mention. It's Alpha Protocol. Now we're going to start with the newest, and we are starting with the Nintendo Switch. And the Nintendo Switch is no shortage of fantastic RPGs. And the first one out the gate is from my friends at Thunderful. This is SteamWorld Quest: Hand of Gilgamesh. And this is their take on Slay the Spire, for lack of a better term, because it's kind of it's definitely an RPG. You have a bunch of different robots that you're able to recruit. Each character is different. You can outfit them the way you want to. But the combat is kind of handled like Batten Kaitos or something like Marvel's Midnight Suns, where it's a card battler. So you're building your deck and you're filling it out that way and using the cards that you have to do your attacks and defenses and spells and stuff like that. I love that as a concept for an RPG because it's different. It's not the same thing. It's something that's kind of fresh, kind of new, kind of a different take on things. And I realize as I'm saying that I've already given you two examples of other games that have done it before, but it's not something we see often today in modern games. Thunderful is one of those studios that I think is kind of remarkable in the fact that they reinvent themselves pretty much every time they make a new game. Yes, there have been sequels, like there was SteamWorld Dig and SteamWorld Dig 2. Same thing with Heist 1 and 2. But every time they pretty much step into a new genre, it's done perfectly. Like they just stick the landing every single time. And Gilgamesh, no different. Next up, from the creator of the Suikoden series, which is my all-time favorite RPG franchise, is a game that I think a lot of people were really excited about when it was announced, and then it was delayed, and then it was delayed. And then we got kind of the weird precursor game, and then we finally got Eiyuden Chronicles 100 Heroes. I really enjoy this one because it's another Suikoden game. I mean, it's just that game. It's just that franchise, just not in name. And I think that's pretty great because for something that I was really afraid was not going to be fantastic, and to be fair, there are some problems with the title, it's something that to see that style of game come back and for this game to really spur on the re-release of Suikoden 1 and 2 remasters that we got on modern consoles, I think is pretty remarkable and it's pretty important. It's got a ton of memorable characters, which is what you'd expect from a game like that. There's over 100 characters to recruit. They are not Stars of Destiny, to be very clear. But the game really leans into modern technology and kind of the utilization of things that we kind of take for granted in modern games. A lot of voice acting in the title, some really great 3D environments and world maps and stuff like that that are done while still paying homage to the first two Suikoden games with having a lot of pixel art as well. So it's almost an HD 2D game in that way, and it's just really, really well done. Like I said, there are some issues with it, so if you play it and it doesn't land for you, I get that. But for me, it was such a nice kind of return to form and a step back into a genre and a delivery system for a genre that I love that I was really happy to see. Over now to the 3DS. And the 3DS, I said on Threads recently, you should follow me, the social information will be on screen right now. It was something where I put together a meme where I didn't put it together, I stole it, but where I gave my attachment for each particular Nintendo console. And the 3DS is the only one that got 6 hearts instead of 5 because it's my favorite thing Nintendo has ever done. And one of my favorite games on that console is the action RPG Project Cross Zone. So it is a tactical strategy game, but it is a tactical strategy RPG. And that's something we saw a lot of at this time. Like we got a ton of Fire Emblem games on the 3DS, but this one here is really unique because it combines the worlds of Namco Bandai, Sega, and Capcom into one game, and you're able to put together teams of characters to fight villains. And it's It's really clever and it's really well done. And this version in particular is awesome because it comes with an art book, and the art in the game is beautiful and magnificent. And it's just one of those titles that I saw on a shelf and I was like, yeah, Mega Man's on the cover. I'm going to give it a shot. And getting it home, I wasn't disappointed. To see some of my favorite characters just introduced and interacting like their old friends was really cool. And to see the different kind of story arcs kind of tie together, and the different fighting system that was involved, and the ability to kind of team up as you're playing, the cross that's in the title, is really awesome. To be in a fight and to have a trigger appear on screen where you're able to combine the two characters together to increase the damage output that you're doing is so much fun. And it executes so well on the 3DS. Like, it's one of those games where I look at it and I go, I would love to see this come out on modern consoles, but there's no way for it to do, because I think you need those two screens, and critically, I think you actually need the 3D. I don't say that about a lot of 3DS games, but this one, the 3D really lends itself well to what the title does. It's a really fun game, and it's something where I don't know a lot of people that have played it, and if they have it, it just kind of sits on a shelf because they got it because it has an art book. And there's a sequel as well. They're both really, really fun titles. So if you're interested, and if that sounds curious to you, if the footage you've seen on screen today looks interesting, give it a shot. I think you'll enjoy it. All right, this is a really unique one, and it's on the Xbox 360, which is not a console that is known for its RPGs. I think there was like 10 of them on the entire console. It was more than that, obviously. The one that I want to talk about today is one I've discussed on the channel before in the past, and it's one that I think is really clever because it's a blending of realities, because it takes place in both the real world and this fantasy world that is in Chopin's mind, and it is Eternal Sonata. And yeah, Chopin, or Chopin, I don't know how to pronounce it, the composer. It's really clever because the kind of role-playing elements of the game take place in his mind as he's dying. And it's really neat to kind of see how it comes together and see the different influences from music and the different kind of things that you would see kind of equated into a piece of music brought to life in a video game, and not in a rhythm game either, which is, critically the most interesting part, is that it's different and unexpected. And I really think it's something that a lot of people didn't play and just kind of skipped over because it's on the 360. No one was really looking for RPGs on that console. Really fun game though. Beautiful look too. Just really, really solid overall. All right, on to the PlayStation 2. And I'm going to give one that, if you know it, you're going to look at me like I'm crazy for saying this, but I think there's a lot more people that don't know it and have overlooked it than have played it. And that is Wild Arms 3. The Wild Arms series is incredible. It is a Wild West RPG, or a Wild West style RPG. It doesn't take place in the Wild West, but it feels like it does, and it feels like it should. And it's something where the game is just solid. The characters are memorable. The combat is really fun. The level designs are really well executed. And it's just one that the Wild Arms series is a blast. It's really great. There's been, I think, 4 or 5. I can't remember exactly how many, but it's a game, or it's a franchise that leans into the style and uses that style and that kind of overall setting of where the game takes place to really influence storyline decisions and combat mechanics and character arcs and stuff like that. And I just think that's really clever. It's a very fun game, and one that, like I said, this is probably the most well-known one on here, but I think more people should play it because I don't remember a lot of people talking about it when it released. The nice thing is you can actually play it if you have PlayStation Plus. It's available there. I'm pretty sure all the Wild Arms games are available on that, so give it a shot. Also on the PlayStation 2, this is an action RPG, and one that is very similar to games like Marvel Ultimate Alliance or Champions of Norath and things like that. This is Justice League Heroes. I really like Justice League Heroes. I think it is a wildly underrated game that not a lot of people talk about. And when they do talk about Justice League Heroes, they typically talk about Justice League Heroes The Flash and the Game Boy Advance, which was developed by WayForward, and rightfully so. It's a great game. This one, though, plays more like a traditional squad-based action RPG, where you're able to kind of hot swap between the different superheroes that are on your team, use their powers and abilities, and go through the storyline of the game. It is not a traditional RPG in the sense of you creating a character or anything like that. You're playing one of the members of the Justice League, but I think the way it executes and the way it works is really well done, and it's a very, very fun game. It can get a little bit bogged down at points where you're backtracking a lot as you play, and that can be a little bit boring, but I think overall the execution is really positive and really well done. It's a fun game, and if you dig superheroes at all, this is one that you should try out, especially if you like the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games, because this is a nod and a very, very big thumbs up to those games right there. This one is one of my favorites. Not only is it fun to say, it's just fun to play. And it's a game on my personal kind of Sisyphean quest right now, as I'm trying to collect the entire North American library, and it's very hard to do because there's not a lot of games to be found out there right now. This is Biomotor Unitron. Now, Biomotor Unitron is, like I said, really fun to say, but it is an RPG, kind of Pokemon-esque, kind of... I don't really know how to describe it other than kind of Pokemon-esque, but it's not really Pokemon. That's kind of a terrible way to describe it, if I'm being honest. But the gameplay loop is basically, you have a robot, you buy parts for it, you upgrade your robot, move on. There you go, you get into fights. And the storyline is really well done. The only thing that I can really find as a negative about this is, one, it's on the Neo Geo Pocket Color, so good luck finding it. And two, the music isn't great in it, and it's not consistent. Like, it's not... You don't constantly have a score playing or anything like that. It's just kind of there, and then it disappears. It is available on Neo Geo Pocket Color Collection Volume 2 on modern consoles. So if you're curious about it, you can play it that way, and it plays great on the Switch, I can say that much. And it's one of those games that was kind of a signature for the console, and when you're a signature for a console no one really knows much about, that's not a great thing to kind of hang your hat on, unfortunately. It's a really fun game, though, and it's something where I think the mechanics in it are incredibly sound. And like I said, the biggest problem is the music that is very inconsistent. And if you can get past that, you're in store for a really, really fun title. It's really, really good and worth playing. This one is going to make some folks mad because this is my personal favorite game in this franchise. I loved the original, but the reason I love Chrono Cross more than I love Chrono Trigger is the music. I cannot tell you how much I love the soundtrack to that game. It has one of the best video game scores of all time. There are musical pieces that I heard for the first time when the game released that I still listen to this day because they were so resonant for me personally that I needed to have them continuously in the soundtrack of my life. I thought they were that good. I love the characters. I love the look of the game. The different kind of tropical locales and things like that were different enough from what I saw in Chrono Trigger that I felt like they were trying something a little bit risky and trying something a little bit different that didn't necessarily land every single time, but the stuff that they did that worked, I thought worked incredibly well. I love the callbacks to the original Chrono Trigger game. I love the amount of characters you're able to recruit. I think the combat system is great. The level designs are wonderful. There's a remake out as well on modern consoles, the Radical Dreamers edition, which is really good. And it's just something where, as much as I love Chrono Trigger, and it is absolutely brilliant, there was just something about this game that sunk its claws into me and was not something that let go. And it's so good. It is such a good title, and I wish more people had played it because I think so many folks were just set on this being, it's the next Chrono Trigger, that they weren't prepared for it to do something on its own and kind of try to stand on its own 2 feet. And that's a shame. Next up, an RPG on the NES. We got 2 NES games back to back here, and this is one of my favorites on the NES. This is from Capcom. This is Destiny of an Emperor, and I cannot tell you how much I love this game. So when I first played this, I had no idea who any of these characters were, that they tied into Chinese legend or anything like that. I just thought it was a cool game. I loved the concept of your hit points being how many characters were left or how many troops were left in your character's army. Thought that was absolutely brilliant. And as I've grown up and learned about it, I realized that it's a telling of the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Critically, not Romance of the Three Kingdoms, which is also a video game. This one's different. I was just blown away by this game when I was younger, and as I started collecting retro games or NES games as I got older, this is something that I knew I had to have back in my collection. It was one that I rented frequently when I was younger. The gameplay loop is so simple and so easy to understand. You recruit generals, they have troops, you outfit them, you get into fights, and it's a little bit tactical in that way, and the abilities you have work as abilities instead of spells. You don't have spells or anything like that. It's just kind of strategy and combat tactics and things like that, and it's just fantastic. And it's one of those games that when you play it, you get it, you understand. If you're a fan of RPGs, that is. If you're not, then carry on. You're not even this far in the video. Don't even know why I'm talking to you, but if you like RPGs and you haven't played this one, I urge you to give it a shot because I think you're going to love it. Last but not least, on the NES, and one of my personal favorites, this is one where I originally played this series, I want to say on the Apple IIe probably? Maybe not, maybe a different Apple, I don't remember. But it was one that I loved on that computer. I loved it on the PC as well. And when I saw that there were NES releases of this franchise, I knew I had to play it. And Ultima Quest of the Avatar is such a unique telling of the Ultima franchise. So on the NES, it's very different than what you experience on the PC. It has to be. It has to be simplified. It has to be kind of dumbed down, for lack of a better term. But you still get a game that offers over 100 hours of gameplay. You still get that classic Ultima character creation at the start, where you have to pick your morals and things like that, the things that matter most to you through a series of questions on tarot cards, and you determine which of the virtues are most important to you. And I think that's such a clever way to determine a character creation. And as you play, you're going to meet dozens of characters. You're going to go to tons of different areas in the map that are just fun to explore. The combat system is really, really solid in it. It's different. It's not a traditional RPG combat system. You have to really think a little bit about how you're going to fight and how you're going to move about the terrain. It's such a clever experience and such a great way to implement the Ultima franchise on the NES. Absolutely love it. One of my favorites. Every Ultima game on the NES is great, but obviously this one I had to have complete in box because it's my favorite. There you have it, folks. 10 RPGs, 11 if you count my honorable mention to Alpha Protocol at the start, that are overlooked, underrated, and forgotten. And I think that's a shame, and I think folks should play them. That's just my list, though. I want to hear from you. What are your 10 RPGs that folks should play that you think get overlooked? Let me know, because I want to do more videos like this, and I know there's tons of games that I have overlooked throughout the years. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up. If you really enjoyed it, consider subscribing and hang around. We're very close to 20,000 now. We're at 19,200, and it's climbing fast right now, which I'm absolutely loving. And if you're new here from my recent Sega Genesis video, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you sticking around. Until next time, folks, I've been Jay. I appreciate you spending some time with me today. Remember to play more games, stay square, and take care. Talk to you soon.